Welcome everyone to another Win by Noon Monday webinar. I am Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon, and I'm so excited you are here, and equally, if not more excited, for my co-host, the founder of Plug and Play SM, none other than Deborah Bird. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. We missed you last week.
You know, I was at KW Wealth in Austin, Texas, getting smarter because my goal is to help our community grow their wealth and be able to educate others on how to grow their wealth as well.
Well, I can't wait to learn. I know that was your second trip, right?
That was my second trip. Yes. Yes. So that was it was a lot of fun. And then Brett Tanner, who is the, let's call him the founder and the teacher of that group. Luckily, he and I are friends, and we ended up on the same plane on the way home. So I got to have dinner with him for a couple hours at the airport because our plane was delayed, and pick his brain. And then I got to pick his brain, poor guy, all the way home on the airplane.
Oh my gosh, I bet he was exhausted by the time he got home.
Probably.
Yeah.
Although it was more conversation just because we are, we're good friends and we just haven't caught up in a long time. Because when we're at those events, he's got so many people that want his ear that I choose to allow others to ask a lot of questions so that it's not just me bugging him.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm excited to learn more about this program that you're about to get into, and think it could really help a lot of people and be a great value add or conversation starter for loan officers or real estate agents to help provide back to the business owners and companies in their community. So,
well, I appreciate it. And I'm glad that you're along for the ride. So full disclosure, you're heading off because you're heading to go speak this afternoon. So that's exciting.
yes.
So you'll be here for the first half. So Deborah will disappear and then you're stuck with me. So, I know you're all disappointed. Second off, it's Halloween. And guess what? I dressed up as a Win by Noon guy. I don't know if you noticed that. So that was my costume. I know it's bad because I've been recording videos today, so I have to look good.
I'm wearing an old shirt. I was actually trying to cover it just because it is a mortgage company, and I try to stay very neutral. So I'm not gonna say which one this is.
Well,
So I'm gonna be a loan officer for
now we're
Halloween.
all looking at your shirt. So that
I
is
know.
we're like, all right, what does she got on there? And then you also spoiled it and told us that candy's 13% more expensive this year. You told me before the call started. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. So, it's important to even educate your clients on just inflation and cost of goods, and are they being disciplined with their spending and looking at their bank statements. It's so easy to just bypass reading your statements and taking, a highlighter and looking to see what you're spending your money on because it's all digital. When you used to get the statements in the mail and it was printed out, it was easier to go through. So,
I think that's it. You're making people think. And so, yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm all about being efficient with your time. And so all these folks who have jumped in to help businesses get their ERC tax credits have asked me tons of questions. And this weekend I had lots of family time, and therefore I didn't actually record. We did that video with Bill Hillestad. I did a interview with him a couple weeks ago, and it's 45 minutes long. And Bill just sometimes gets overexcited and overcomplicates things. So my goal was to take what he did in 45 minutes and like knock it out maybe in 15 minutes, like something pretty quick and easy for those of you. So my guess is, I'm not looking at who's on here live, but my guess is that whether you're watching this live or the recording, either A, you've already signed up and are super excited about it and hoping to learn more. So at the end, I'll do Q&A for anyone who's here and has questions, or B, you're watching the recording of this or you're part of the B group, which is, hey, I'm thinking about it because I'm tired of Todd talking about it. So my goal is not to keep talking about this, just to put the information out there. And this will be hopefully a great informational video. And then I'll cut off all this beginning part about Halloween, and then no one will even know how it worked, how we did it. So it'll be a lot of fun.
You are recording, right? You already hit record?
I did hit the record button. Now would stink if I forgot. I was a guest co-host on a webinar. I'm doing some stuff with HOA.com. It's actually a really cool program. It's not for the faint at heart from a price perspective, but it's pretty cool. You can just go to HOA, just like it sounds, like a homeowners association.com/win by noon. We're doing a webinar like today's today? Monday. On Wednesday, we're doing a webinar. But it's kind of a cool program. And I won't call out his name, but now I know who it is, but he, for some reason, it didn't record. I'm like, all right, well, I guess good thing we're doing it again. So I hope not to have that challenge. So, all right, it's 1:05. Let's jump in. And so why don't you, let's set this up. You can just ask me, hey, Todd, tell me why you're so excited about this ERC program, or ask me some great question like that. And then I'll just act surprised by the question. And then I'll start my PowerPoint.
So I would actually like to know a little bit more about the ERC program. Can you tell us about that?
Hey, what a great question, Deborah. I really appreciate you asking. It almost sounds like we set that up ahead of time. And so, yeah, here we go. Let me just share a couple of slides with all of you, because I did interview with Bill Hillestead before. And so a lot of you heard that. So if you don't know who Bill Hillestead is, I've known him for over a decade, and he has been the Facebook marketing guy of the mortgage and real estate communities for the last decade. I mean, he knows more about how to drive Facebook traffic, get video views than anyone I know. And when I called Bill about 6 weeks ago and said, hey, Bill, I need some help with some Facebook stuff, he kind of was like, yeah, Todd, I don't do that anymore. I've given that off to my daughter and my son-in-law. They're running that because I'm so excited about these things called ERCs. Have you heard of them? And then he went on into this pitch, and I'm like, I'm in. And then finally, about a week or two ago, he got their system launched. And so here is the official website if you want to get signed up. I created a new one. I thought it was really good, helpfriendswitherc.com. So if you want to be a referral partner and be able to refer people over to ERC so that you can earn an income, which we'll talk about at the end. That's called what do they call that? A foreshadow, when I'm trying to, make y'all stay till the end of this very short video we're going to do. And so let me just kind of run through a couple of slides that I think will be helpful. Then I'll pause and let Deborah ask me some questions, and then we'll keep rolling on this whole thing. So the first question I get a lot is, what is ERC? And it's an employee retention credit. And so it's actually a tax credit that's based on as basically a refund of your payroll taxes that you've paid. And so here are the boring parts of it. It was created by the CARES Act in March of 2020. At that time, you could either get PPP, which you've all heard of, or ERC, where the average PP was like 100,000. The average ERC is like 500,000, something crazy like that. But you can only get one or the other. And then later on that year, they came out with the Consolidated Appropriates Act, whatever the heck that stands for, in December 2020, which said you could get both, but there was no clarification on what the heck you could do, how you would do that. And the IRS finally gave guidance on it in March of 2021. And so really it was kind of just, it's kind of a wreck. I mean, they estimate, they being the IRS estimates 75 to 80% of businesses will qualify for it, yet less than 4% have actually applied for it. And Bill Hillestead says through their organization, which we're part of, that they've seen over 90% of the applicants they've get have qualified. And that's probably because I think their sales, group of referral partners probably does a pretty good idea. And so here's kind of the interesting thing. It's fully refundable tax credit against your payroll, right? So it's money you're getting back. And so it's not a loan, it's actually paid with treasury checks. So I've got a business partner in the mortgage business. He owns some gyms. And one day I talked to him, he sounded all excited. And he's like, oh, I've got a bunch of checks from the IRS for ERC credits for keeping my employees employed during COVID. So he actually kept his gym was closed because the government mandated he close the gym, but they actually rewarded him financially for keeping his employees employed, which is kind of a cool thing. So, all right, Deborah, any questions on that?
So are you saying now you could have, if you did get the PPC loan, you could still be eligible for this? Or
Absolutely.
No?
Absolutely. So you can
okay.
you can actually now do both. And so here's where it gets kind of complicated. So wait till you see this next slide. This is a great lead into my next slide on it. So, so then really the question is, why hasn't everyone filed for it? And it's because it's insanely complex and totally misunderstood. So I stole that straight from Bill's slides. And again, I'm no CPA, nor do I play one on TV. And so I'm just giving you what I've learned through me doing research on this and from Bill and sitting on a bunch of webinars about it. And it's like apparently a lot of paperwork, like pretty thick stack. And so what's happened is the group that we're part of has teamed up with a couple of big accounting firms. They've actually done over 4,000 filings. They've had 0 filings amended or rejected. They actually have, if anyone does get audited, they're not expecting that. But if anyone does get audited on it, they've got a team of people that would help with that. I was in fact at KW Wealth, they brought in a tax strategist who gave about a dozen different tax strategies that real estate agents and real estate investors can use. And the number one thing he brought up first was the ERC credit. And he said that he talked to a friend of his at the IRS, unnamed, I can't really who knows who that is, but he said they said on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10, you will get an audit, and 1, like you probably will never get an audit. The IRS guy said this is a 1 because they don't really want to have anyone go on the news and say, yeah, the IRS came back and took back the money they gave me for keeping my folks employed during COVID. And so it's really it's really difficult. But the interesting part about it is, like, I talked to somebody who was referred by someone in the network the other day, and he said he went to his payroll provider, said, oh, we'll amend and we'll get you your ERC money. And, my calculation in my brain, I can do numbers okay, was that he probably would qualify for about 500, a little over 500,000. And he said he got a $20,000 check through what he did with his payroll company, which is one of the major payroll companies that you all probably have heard of. And so he's going to refile through our organization to see if they can adjust it, because that's really what they're telling us, is that the groups that we're teamed up with have software that'll help people who got a PPP loan figure out what percentage of those employees plus your other employees can you actually get the tax credit refund for. And so I think that's really the unique part about it is that it's so hard. And then, when you hear it on the news, like I just talked to a loan officer earlier today from Minnesota, and he said he had talked to a couple friends about it, but apparently the news just featured it. So he had 3 friends call him this morning saying, oh, I heard about that thing that you mentioned, what do we do to get started on it? And so anytime that it's making the national news, tells you there's a bunch of crooks out there trying to, convince people to do it. And so for me, I trust Bill, and I've done the research on the firms that they're using in the group, and they're totally, above board and solid. And I believe that they're going to have a better result based on their software and the firm they're using than these other folks did. Does that make sense?
Yes, the 2 things that come to mind are you said it's very difficult and often misunderstood. So immediately I think, how much time would it come from me? Like, if I'm a business owner with employees and I'm considering this, is it going to be worse than getting a mortgage with as far as paperwork? And then my second question is, what types of returns could someone expect? Like, or how do they get the calculation to know if it's worth my time to
That is a great
apply?
question. So the target company, in fact, let me just pull it up because that might even be my next slide, as crazy as that sounds. So the target company is somebody with 5 to 500 employees. So it's really geared towards small businesses, and you have to have issued W-2s and paid payroll taxes. So if you run a business where all your employees are 1099, then guess what? You are not, you didn't pay payroll taxes. So therefore you can't get a refund of the payroll taxes you didn't pay. So 5 to 500 employees, and they've really tried to streamline the process for everyone. And so here's kind of, let me give real quick, here's what the quote unquote criteria is. Actually, no, let me tell you what the employers, let me tell what the process is, and I'll give that. So the process is super simple. And I'll skip over the slides because I don't want it to be a second job for a loan officer or a real estate agent who's watching this. And it could be anyone can refer in. I don't, the number 1 referrer in our network so far is a CPA, and a loan officer referred the CPA. And so with all the business that the CPA referred, that loan officer is potentially going to make money on, which I'll show that income opportunity, as I mentioned at the end. But it's kind of like I view it to like taking a loan application. A lot of people said, oh, I sent my link to a business to fill out to get started. And they're like, but they haven't filled them out yet. It's 5 pieces of information: company name, the person's name, their phone number, their email address, and the approximate number of employees. So it's not that difficult. And so what my encouragement is that you call up your friend who owns a business, especially if you're a loan officer. Think about it. It's a no-brainer. You already know who is self-employed and who's not. If you're a real estate agent or in some other business, you know who owns businesses, right? So like I just got one through this afternoon for someone who owns a restaurant. Like almost 100% of restaurants should qualify. They all were impacted. It had to shut down, go to delivery, all those kinds of things. And so it starts off with those 5 pieces of information. I suggest you just call up your friend. You fill that out in your link once you sign up with that help friends with ERC.com. I had to remember my new website. And once they complete that, then there's a quick questionnaire. So they'll actually get followed up within 48 hours from someone from ERC Only, which is the group that we're part of. And that questionnaire is about 8 to 12 minutes. It's about 15 minutes if the person wants to tell lots of stories. So think about it. If you're a loan officer, it's like when you take a loan application, you get to that part where you ask them a question and they go off on a tangent. That does happen in this as well, but that's fine. It's really helping people who need help, right? A lot of these businesses, like I talked to an electrician who said, I'm in the process of getting an SBA loan because no one's paying me right now. I can't afford, I'm worried about it paying my employees. So this is a great opportunity for him. He's eligible for, it looks like about $750,000 of a tax credit. And that'll be a whole lot better than taking a loan out from the government, right? And so then the next step is they fill out this questionnaire. And again, at this point, whoever referred the business, you're done, right? Like literally all you did was get those 5 pieces of information. That's your whole job. And then you only do more if for some reason your referral is unresponsive or doesn't fill out their questionnaire, then maybe we'll reach back out to you and twist your arm to help us encourage them along. So they fill out that questionnaire, it takes 10 to 12 minutes. They hit submit. Then they sign a letter of engagement that says, yes, I'm willing to work with this company. The company does take a 20% refer or 20% fee of whatever they collect. There's no upfront fees. And that's kind of below average. The average I've seen is 20 to 40%. The financial advisor CPA guy who spoke to the group said he's from Atlanta and there's a billboard on his way to the airport and he called it. They wanted 40% as of whatever they got. So if someone's trying to charge you money up front or they're going to take more than that, then obviously probably not the best opportunity for you. Question. So 5 questions: name, address, email, business name, employees. Questionnaire, 8 to 12 minutes. Sign the letter. I don't know. I haven't signed the letter yet, but no one's had any problems with it. So it seems like it's probably a couple minutes to read it, hit DocuSign or whatever the fancy signature system they uses. And then last but not least, you'll set up a 30-minute call with the accounting firm. A lot of people are deferring that to their CPA and they're not actually doing it themselves. And then they will have the CPA upload some information, really just the 941s, which is the tax stuff they filed, their payroll ledger, if they got a PPP loan, the information on that, if they'd employed paid healthcare, and then who owns the company and what percentages. So it's super simple. That's taking less than 30 minutes. Other than that, then it's taking a week or so for the firm to go through it, determine what the amount of the tax credit is going to be, and then send it off. You approve it as a business owner, and then they shoot it in. So it's actually pretty minimal time, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that it sounds, I'm sure there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So next question is, so if I had someone that comes to mind and I want to give an introduction or want them to get started, do I just go to help friends with ERC.com? Is that what would be my next step?
Yeah, that would be how you sign up to be a referral partner, right? So
Okay.
again, you could be super nice and you can refer it directly to someone who's doing it and they'll make a fee. In fact, let me just show what that looks like so that you all see it. And so it is, so real quick, let me just go through this. So these are the criteria. And so what happened was originally you had to have a 50% decline in 2020 or 20% decline in 2021. Most people didn't hit that. Full shutdown, not everyone hit that. But then they came up with this new thing that you could have a partial shutdown with a nominal impact, and what changed. And so what that is the opportunity. That is so weird. I lost my other slide. It disappeared. All right. Well, that slide would have said, that was after this one, said what changed. It is, were you impacted in any way? Were your customers impacted? Did you have a partial shutdown? Did you have travel impacted? Did you have to send your employees home to work on computers? This is like where mortgage companies who made a lot of money are able
Like
to
supply delays if you're a pool builder.
Supply delays if you're a pool builder, right? So there's everything like that. It's probably, maybe I must have pushed it back in there. So maybe I'll get to the end and that will pop up. But the bottom line is you had to be negatively impacted. And so that there's a lot that can go into negatively impacted. And so that's what majority of the people that I've spoken to are going under that. So they're not even wasting their time with these top things. Let's talk about the opportunity for you. So as Bill said, he said it was built with the mortgage and real estate industries in mind. So it rewards activities of value. I like that. So again, if you're the person who refers the business, you get a 1% finder's fee, which is essentially 5% of the revenue that is gotten by the accounting firm. Because if you think of 5% of 20%, you people can do math, that's 1%. And then you also get an override on referring referral partners. So you get 25% of their income. So for instance, the loan officer who referred the CPA actually applied. And so the loan officer will get 1% of what that CPA pays as a finder fee, right? So if the CPA qualifies for $100,000 of ERC, then the loan officer is going to get $1,000. If the CPA qualifies for $1 million of ERC, then the loan officer is going to get $10,000. Now that loan officer, that CPA is also signed up as a referral partner underneath the loan officer. So therefore the loan officer is going to get an override of 25% of the income of whatever that CPA refers. So that CPA is already referred over 10 people. So let's pretend same math applies. So the CPA refers someone who gets $100,000, then 1% of that, the CPA is going to get the 1,000 and the loan officers are going to get 250. If the CPA refers $1 million worth of business, then the CPA is going to get the 10,000 and the loan officer is going to get 2,500. And I've got loan officers and real estate agents right now that have 5, 10 different people that they've referred underneath them. And then I've got others who say, I don't even want anyone below me referring. I just want them to refer me their businesses and I'll take the 1%. Oh, there's the other slide I was talking about. Impacted by government order or mandate, travel, you or your customers, sales, marketing, or trade show challenges, supply chain challenges where availability or cost change, cost going up, what a surprise, or oh, something not being available. And then anything procedural, the workers or customers, meaning did you have to meet virtually and set up virtual stuff like that. Here's the biggest thing, people. It's not intended to be a second job. All you need to do is get those 5 things. You're not going to spend full time. You're not getting this other information. The ERC only team is. Again, all you need is their name, business name of the email and phone number of employees. And it's just help friends with ERC.com. That's where you sign up to be a referral partner. And then you'll get all the information you need to sign up for businesses to refer and to sign up other referral partners. Oh man, that is a lot. So someone says, what about a full shutdown at the end of 2019? That is from Mike, who actually is one of the referral partners. So if anyone had a full shutdown, that should qualify them. Timing is interesting. She said 2019, but I'm assuming the answer would be yes on that one as well. And so, all right, who has questions? So that really went all over the place. And my hair, I just got to cut, is looking really tall today. And so that was a little more all over the place than I expected it. You'll notice Deborah has disappeared. She had head to her presentation, but it's always good to have Deborah here with us. And so I would just tell you, it's been kind of interesting to see the different approaches that different people are taking. I can tell you that, there's a lot of people. Like when I signed up, my number is 84, and I had people sign up last week, their number's 330 something. I mean, they've definitely building the network, and it's going to sound really weird. I think the opportunity is now more than ever. I think, as I mentioned, someone said it's been on the news, and I think once it's on the news and everyone, the cat's out of the bag, which is great, because the whole point is, I believe it from here is to help other businesses. And granted, I love it that it's an income opportunity for y'all. It's an income opportunity for me, right? So my primary goal, just so you know, is I'm going out there to sign you all up as referral partners, and I'm going to make all of my money as the 25% from all of you. Not that I won't sign up any businesses, but I just haven't focused on that part of it. I just feel like from an industry perspective, as someone who's fortunate to have a lot of you who know me and watch these things, that's what I want to do. I want to help you all make a little bit of money, just thinking about the people that you know. And, the irony is that if you watch the webinar I did with Bill Hillstead, Bill started off going on this tangent about all the leads they're generating for this. And transparently, like, I don't want any of those. Like, he's like, you want to help with leads? I'm like, nope. And the reason why is because you all know these businesses, and think about it like if you're a loan officer, you're thinking about it from a referral perspective. Would you rather have a lead that came off the internet or a lead that came from a realtor who did a great job of referring it to you? And I feel like that's going to be where the majority of our business will come in through I'm calling it my team, my network, is going to be from businesses that and friends of friends. And to me, that's the best way to do business. And I just know a lot of you have a little bit of capacity right now to do extra business. And so think about, who do you know? If you're a loan officer here, think about, again, I'll be looking at who are my clients that I've served and how can I help that are self-employed, and reach out to them. And then think about your family members and where their businesses are. So the first 2 people I called were my brothers and said, hey, how many employees do you have? My brother's like 200. I'm like, do you know the CEO? He's like, yeah. I said, did they apply for ERC? He's like, what's that? I don't know. I said, well, do you know the employer? Can you ask the CEO? So he's going to follow up with the CEO. My other brother works for a law firm. Same thing. He knows a ton of people, whether his law firm chooses to apply or not. Doesn't matter, but I can get my brother to refer business. And ironically, he probably won't want to be the person who makes any money on it. So he'll probably refer it to me. And then I'll just do something nice for him. So think about that. Who do you know? And then also, do you know any real estate agents who love to connect? So I refer to a real estate agent I know, and I already know he's called a lot of business owners and people, because I know some of these people who own businesses that are in the real estate world, and he's serious about building his network because he likes to add value to people. So he's like, how can I help my friends who own businesses? He believes that's adding value. Guess what? I do too. And so think about who do you know in that world? And I think the same thing is, if you're a real estate agent and you're watching this, since there's a lot of real estate agents in my community, same thing, right? If you're not overly busy, you have sold houses to people who are business owners, right? You also maybe know a loan officer or two, right? So again, they have time. And so again, if you're a real estate agent, you might want to refer another loan officer. If you're a loan officer, guess what? Maybe you got another loan officer in your office who's got a little time on his or her hands. And so I think this is all opportunity, but I think the biggest thing is going back to the whole idea of don't make it a second job. I mean, really, you shouldn't, I think if you spend 15 minutes a day, right? So here is, again, my reminder is it's not intended to be a second job, because it should be something that's just super quick. And so again, I think I don't see any more questions. So I don't want to harp on it any longer. I think you all should have an idea of what's going on now. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled Win by Noon weekly webinars next Monday, but we will be starting at noon Pacific time. You might say, Todd, why would you do that? To me, transparently, it's because I'm in Arizona and it's going to go to 2 o'clock, and I actually teach my financial advisors at 2 o'clock, and I can't be in 2 places at one time, even though I heard great things about last week when I wasn't here from Adam and Deborah, but I would just hate for once a month for me to miss. And so noon, it will be that's really when it should have been the whole time anyway. In fact, that's really when it started. We just moved it. So, all right, last minute, any questions any y'all have about that or anything else you want to talk about? If not, what I would encourage tonight is make sure this is a nail that I found in this place I'm standing at. Yeah, there, see that nail? So don't look, check your kids' candy bars to make sure no one sticks a nail in it. Not me. We would not do that, but that's just my advice. Make sure your kids are healthy, have fun tonight. We have the most decorations in my immediate neighborhood for Halloween this year. My wife and daughter are very excited about that. We'll be handing out full-size candy bars because my daughter wants to be the cool house on the street. Transparently, I have no idea if anyone actually trick-or-treats in our neighborhood since we just moved here, but we do have a couple neighbors who will come over and, may or may not hang out with us for a bit. As always, since you guys, I'm stalling, see if anyone has any questions, but if you guys do have questions and you don't want to ask on here, just email me, todd@winbynoon.com. I'm happy to answer them. But, the bottom line is this, is you have an opportunity to help businesses. You have an opportunity to earn a little bit of income, and neither of those are bad things. So let me know how I can be of help. If you want to jump in, happy to have you aboard, and really do appreciate you taking the time to be here, and can't wait to help some businesses with you. Talk to you next week.